Hey everyone, I'm Nitij and welcome to another exciting coding tutorial. So today we will build a dynamic weather widget like this one that not only looks cool but also serves a real world purpose as well in your applications. So whether you are a seasoned developer or just starting out, this project is going to sharpen your skills and add a great piece to your portfolio as well. So let's get started. In this tutorial, we will cover fetching real-time weather data using Axios package and also the OpenWeatherMap API to create our weather widget. I will guide you through the process of dynamically rendering weather information based on a location that we will be entering in an input, and we will also focus on making our widget look stylish and responsive. So this is the widget that we will be creating. As you can see, there is an icon for the moon, which indicates that it is currently night in the location, and there is an icon for cloud as well, which indicates that it is cloudy. Then there is the current temperature and minimum and maximum temperature, the field select temperature, the location name, and also the humidity percentage. So this kind of widget can be integrated into travel apps to provide users with current weather conditions of destinations, or maybe in news websites to give up-to-date weather information. It is also great for personal websites or dashboards where you just want to add a functional or maybe aesthetic element. So first, let me show you how you can access the OpenWeatherMaps API to first fetch the weather information of any location. The first thing that you need to do is to open up its website, which is this one, openweathermap.org, and then create a new account. Now you will have to click on your username and then click on this My API Keys menu item. When you will do that, then I guess I will have to log in again. But when you will click on this My API Keys menu item, then this page will open up where you can generate new API keys. Now there is a rate limit applied for the API keys or the API access for free tier users, which I think is 60 per minute. So if you want to access or call this API for more than 60 per minute, then you will have to subscribe to any one of the pricing tiers which OpenWeatherMap provides. So we are going to use this key for our tutorial. Now let's take a look at the API documentation to get to know the API that we need to call. So for that, let's just scroll down and we need current weather data. So I'm just going to click on this API doc. Now there are a bunch of API request formats listed over here, and the one that we need is where we can provide the location name. So let's scroll down and see if we can find one. Yeah, I think this is the one that we can use, where we can provide q equals to city name and app ID with our API key. So I'm just going to test it first in my browser's window. So let's do that. Let's go to my API keys, and I'm just going to copy this one for tutorial, replace the API key placeholder with our API key, and for city name I'm just going to use London. Okay, so now we have got the JSON response, and this is what we are going to integrate with our weather widget. Now let's see how we are going to do that in a React front-end application. So this is an empty React application template with nothing added to it. So the first thing that I will do is I will create a new folder in the src folder with the name components, and I will create another folder in it with the name weather, and inside it I will create two files. The first one is going to be index.jsx for our component code, and the second one is going to be index.css for our component styling. And inside index.jsx, let's generate an empty React arrow function component. I'm just going to name it as weather widget. Let's export this as well. Now before we do anything else, I'm just going to run npm start first. so that we can see side by side in a window our code changes reflecting with updates in the browser window. So this is our React application with currently nothing added to it. And now I'm just going to app.js file and I will remove everything from over here. Let's also remove the logo and the app.css as well. And let's remove this class name as well. And I'm just going to import the weather widget first. So import weather widget and let's just render it. So weather widget, right. Okay, so now let's get back to our weather widget and start adding some stuff to it. The first items that we need to add are the moon icon, the sun's icon, and the cloud icon. And the addition of moon and sun icon purely depends upon if it's daytime or not in the location that we have entered. But still, for the cloud and for the moon, I think it is a good idea to download a suitable SVG and then use it. For sun, we can simply style a div as a rounded div and then set its background color as orange. Now to download the cloud and the moon icon, we can simply open up fonts.google.com/icons for material symbols. So I'm just going to search for moon first. So let's search for it, but these are not solid icons. So I'm just going to select or toggle this fill option. Now these are all the moon icons that we can use. So click on any of the suitable moon icon or moon symbol that you want to use. Click on it and then download its SVG file. Do the same thing for cloud as well. I think this one can be suitable, so download this one. Now I'm just going to copy and paste these into my project directory. So inside the src folder, I'm going to create a new folder with the name assets. Inside assets, let's create another folder with the name svgs, and I will simply cut and paste those two svg files into this folder. After the svg files are added to the svg folder, we can start to use them. So in this component, let's also first import our css file as well. So import index.css, and we will be using Axios to make the request to the OpenWeatherMap API. So for that, I'm just going to call npm install Axios. Okay, so while it's being downloaded, we can simply import it. So let's see if it's available or not. Yep, it's available. Now about the SVGs that we downloaded, to use them, all we need to do is to simply call import React component as first. Let's have the moon SVG from. For the path, let's go backwards to the assets folder and then the SVGs folder and then the I think this one, dark mode. Now let's copy and paste this line for the cloud as well. So cloud, but for cloud we are going to use a different name, so it is going to be cloud SVG. So we will be fetching the current weather details from the OpenWeatherMap API in a moment, but before that we will just be adding the placeholders. So first let's add a class name for our widget's parent div, so that can be weather widget. Let's add the moon SVG, and let's also provide a class name for moon SVG as well, and I'm just going to use the name as moon. Now let's add another div for our cloud. So this class can be called as cloud container, and let's add the cloud SVG. So we can style this one as well with the name cloud. And next we can add multiple divs for different items like the temperature, weather, low, high, feels like, etc. So for temperature, let's add the class name as temperature. Okay, now I'm just going to copy and paste it. Let's just scroll up somewhat as well, and Okay, hold on, not this one actually. Yep, this line. So weather, class name is going to be weather, and for now let's set the text as weather as well, and low high, which means for low high temperature values, low high, and then feels like. So we will be adding styling information to all of these divs in a moment, but first let's add the placeholders so that we can know what we need to add in terms of styling. So then location, and then finally we can have the humidity. So humidity, right? Let's delete the last one. Okay, so now it's time to style all of this stuff. So let's do that. I'm going to open up the index.css file. First, let's style our weather widget. So dot weather widget, let's set the position as relative because we are going to set the cloud containers position as a fixed position. So let's set the display as flex because we are going to have multiple rows for all the items. So the direction is going to be column. So after that, for align items, I'm just going to set the value as center. Okay, hold on. Yep. Let's also set the value for justify content, and again center, and then let's set a fixed width. We can have a variable height based on the content, but the width can be fixed. Let's have a border radius. So border radius, I think 35 px is going to be enough. Let's keep saving it as well. Okay, and then let's add the padding. So padding is going to be, let's use 20px, and for background we are going to use a linear gradient function. It is going to bottom, and I am going to use 3 different colors for the linear gradient, and those colors are these ones. Let's just save it. Okay, so to bottom. Yep. Next, let's set the text color as white, and let's also add box shadow. So box shadow is going to be, let's use 0 and then 4px and then 8px values, and for color we can use black color with an alpha, so 0 0 0 and then 0.5. all right, so our styling for the weather widget container is done, and now it's time to style our moon. So dot moon, so fill is going to be white instead of black, and then let's add a drop shadow to our moon, so we can use a filter for that. So drop shadow, hold on, drop shadow, yeah, I think it's the correct name. So shadow. Okay, I think because of this we are not getting the IntelliSense information. So 0 0 and then size can be 20px, and then we can use the white color over here as well, same as fill. So 252 52, and then we can use an alpha of 0.8. let's just save it, and next we can set the width and height. So width and height can be used as 80px. all right, okay, so this is our moon. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, now let's add the class for the cloud. So for cloud, I am just going to copy moon and then rename it as cloud, and the fill can be light blue. For drop shadow, I'm going to use a different color which is going to reflect the light blue fill. So let's use a different color. Width and height can be same, but we can add keyframe animation for the cloud. So let's do that. Add keyframes identifier can be move cloud, and So this is a very basic way in which we can add the keyframe animations. So for the first keyframe we are not doing anything. For the last keyframe we are applying the transform and then translate x. This is going to be going backwards on the x axis up to 65px. Similarly for 50%, sorry, there needs to be a comma over here. So for 50%, this is going to be in the positive x direction at a max limit of 65px, and then we can use this move cloud as the animation properties value. So move cloud, the duration can be 8 seconds. I'm going to apply ease in out effect. This is going to run for infinite times. Let's save it. So now our cloud has started to move, but we also need to provide the styling information for our cloud container. So cloud container position is going to be absolute, and let's set the top as 58px, and let's set the left as 50%, the initial value. For transform, let's set translate x as minus 50%. Okay, so now our cloud containers styling has been done as well. Now it's time to move on to the styling of all of these divs: temperature, weather, low, high, feels like. So let's do that. So for temperature, I'm going to provide font size as 3 rem. Let's set the font weight as bold, and let's also set the margin top. So we have to set the margin top to add some gap between this moving cloud and the temperature. So margin top is going to be 25px. Right, so this is our temperature. And next, for weather, let's keep the font size as it is. Let's keep the same font size for high low as well. For feels like, we need to add a margin bottom to add some spacing between the feels like and the location. So dot feels like font size, I think the 1 rem is the default one, but let's add it anyways. So margin bottom is 20px. Okay, now for location, I am just going to copy the temperature, but let's use different value for the font size. I'm going to use 2.5 rem, and then for margin top I'm going to use 5px, and let's also rename temperature as location. Right, let's keep the humidity as it is as well. No need to change anything in it. Now we have our template ready, and now it's time to integrate the weather data, the real-time weather data with our weather widget. But before we do that, let's first be able to set the current location by way of an input field. So for that, I will first open up app.js file, and then over here we can add an input field. So to do that, I will simply add a form above our weather widget, and the forms on submit can call a function. So let's create a new function with the name handle submit, or you know what, let's call it handle form submit. We will create this function in a moment, but first let's add the input field. So input, and then type equals to, type equals to text, and the value can be a state variable. Let's name the variable as input value, and let's also add it over here. So const input value set input value equals to use state. Let's set the initial input value as a initial location name. such as London. And let's add another state variable as well for the location that we are going to provide as a prop to our weather widget. So location and then set location. Let's set the camel casing over here. So input value, and then on change we can call a function which is going to call set input value. So set input value, and then you know what, let me just press Alt plus Z. Okay, so now on change set input value e dot target dot value. So now let's it says handle form submit is not defined. Okay, that's fine. So we are going to do that. So const handle form submit equals to an arrow function. So handle form submit is going to first, because we are going to submit from a form, so first let's call e dot prevent default, and then let's set the location as the input value's current value, so input value. Okay, so now we need to add a prop to our weather widget, so let's do that. So prop is going to be the name of the location, which I'm going to, let's use for now the location name over here to test our input field. So location equals to location, so London. Let's just change it, but we also need a button as well to set it. So let's add a button, because we are going to change the location on button click. So button, and then the type can be submit, and then yeah, there should not be anything else for the attributes. So update location, let's save it. Now let's try to change the location to some other value like Tokyo. Okay, so now location is updating. Now it's finally time to implement the fetching of current weather data of this location from the OpenWeatherMap API. So to do that, first I will create a state variable with the name weather data, and then set weather data equals to use state. Let's initialize it with a null value, and hold on, yep, let's format it. Okay, next I am just going to use the use effect hook. So now this hook is going to run whenever the location changes. So location, and then if location dot length, then only we are going to fetch the weather information using the API. So now let's call Axios dot get. Now remember this API URL, so let's use it over here. So Axios dot get, and then let's use a template string. This is our app ID. For Q we can provide the location directly here, and .10 we are going to get the response, and let's also add .catch. So .catch we will get the error, so console.error. Let's just print error and comma error. Okay, now we are going to fetch the response and then set it in the weather data state variable. So let's do that. So set weather data and then response.data. That's all we need to do. Now let's start to set the actual values. So first let's figure out how we are going to show either moon or sun. So for that, let's first get the current time in UTC format. So this can be done by new date dot get time. We are going to divide by 1000. I will show you why. Because we are going to add the API results time zone value to it. So time zone, yep, so time zone is 0 for London actually. So we will do that to check if it's daytime or not. So next is const local time. So local time is the local time of the location. So local time equals to current time UTC plus weather data dot time zone. Okay, hold on. What's going on over here? Weather data, well, not sure. So weather data dot time zone, and next const is daytime equals to local time. If local time lies between the sunrise and sunset, then we can be sure that it's daytime. So how to know about what is the sunrise and sunset time? And that can be checked in the API response as well. So sunset and sunrise. So I'm just going to use weather data dot sys dot sunrise. So if it's more than weather data dot sys dot sunrise, and if it's less than sunset, so sunset, then it is going to be daytime. Okay, finally let's also get the value of cloud size. So cloud size equals to weather data dot clouds dot all. So let me show you the where clouds are in the response. So over here clouds dot all has the cloud cover. Currently it's 100 for London, so it simply means that we can show the cloud SVG. But let's also add another condition to display our cloud SVG. If the cloud cover is more than 50, then only show the cloud, because otherwise it can be a sparsely clouded sky. So for that, let's do something like this. If cloud size is more than 50, then only show cloud SVG. Okay, so actually I have to delete it from here, right? So it says cannot read properties of null time zone. I think there is something wrong with fetching the response, but okay, let's see. We will need to, I think, handle the if there is no weather data, because there can be some time before the weather data is fetched. If there is no weather data, then simply return a div which says loading. All right, now we can see the weather data after the data has been fetched. But now we need to replace all of these values. So for temperature, I'm just going to use math dot round and then weather data dot main dot temp, and let's also add a degree symbol after this as well, and this needs to be enclosed within the curly brackets. So this is our temperature, but this is currently 281 degrees. I think we need to fetch the weather data in the form of metric units. So for that, I am just going to provide another query string parameter which says units equals to metric. Now it says 8 degrees. Okay, now let's do the same for weather, low, high, and then fields like location, etc. So for location, we can simply fetch the location from response as well. So weather data dot name, and then for weather, I'm just going to, you know what, we don't need to copy that because it is a string value. So weather data dot weather 0 dot main, and then for low, high, I'm just going to paste it first over here, main dot temp underscore min, degrees, and then temp underscore I think it's max degrees. Yep, it's max. Okay, and now feels like. So for feels like, let's add the feels like text as well. So feels like, and then it's going to be feels underscore like property. So feels like 5 degrees. Now for humidity, so weather data, okay, weather data dot main dot humidity. Okay, let's add a column over here as well for feels like. And yeah, that's pretty much everything we need to do for our weather widget, but we are still missing one thing, and that is the condition for isDayTime, to determine if we need to show the moon or the sun. So if it's isDayTime, then we will display sun, which we have not yet added. So let's do that. Class name equals to sun. Otherwise we can display moon. So we already have a moon. Now I don't know which location currently has daytime, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment out this one and add a sun directly, so that we can see how it looks like, or if it is, you know, placed correctly in this layout. So you know what, not moon, because we don't have the SVG. Yep, this one. Now add the class for the sun. So for sun, what I'm going to do is let's just copy from over here and rename moon to sun. Fill can be orange, and for sun's drop shadow we can use a different color, so 255 and then 165 and then 0. Yep, I think that's everything we need to do, but there is one more thing that we need to do, and that is to set the border radius. So border radius can be set to 50% to make it rounded, and our sun is still not displaying. Let me just check why. So I think the reason for that is because I have copied from moon the styling information. So instead of fill, we have to use the background color. So let's save it. So this is how this sun will look like, but it is kind of bigger, so I think we can make it smaller. So instead of 80px, let's use 70px. Right, so now it looks more fitting in this entire spacing over here. So that is how this sun will look. And now I'm just going to comment out this one and uncomment this line. So based on if it's daytime or not, we are going to display either sun or moon. Now let's check different locations. So let's check New York, update location. So currently there is daytime in New York with 6 degrees and with a cloud. And let's check now another location like Mumbai. Okay, hold on, Mumbai, update location. There is daytime in Mumbai as well. Let's check another location like Sydney. So I'm just going to check different location and different positions on Earth's longitude and latitude values. So yeah, I think our widget is working correctly. There can be further testing applied to this as well, but I think for the most part it is looking good. So I hope you enjoyed building this weather widget as much as I did. Remember, the best way to learn is by doing, so I encourage you to tweak the code, add new features, and really make it your own. If you have any questions or suggestions, then drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with others who might find it helpful. Your support really motivates me to create more content like this. I'm Nitij, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, happy coding.